So you would say that the communist movement at that time was, I mean, because of the nationalist movement going on and anti-colonial movement, anti-British, uh, because the general understanding for we people who don't have our roots in actually in the communist movement, but who admire the communist movement very much, that it was the strong point was the working class movement.
I don't think so. They didn't set store by the working class movement. This was a more militant part of the national movement,
Yes.
emotionally more committed to revolutionary overthrow. And the working class as the major active agent in the revolution was not so much in our consciousness. We are all concerned with the overthrow of the British. So this was a general strike and mass demonstration, including armed struggle. These were the means of struggle. I joined the Communist Party straight away.
Straight away.
Yeah.
And how long were you in the communist party?
I joined the party. I joined the periphery of the party in 1940, and I became a full member in 1941.
Till when?
64, when the party got split, then some of us, we never formally left the party, but we didn't renew our membership. When the party split, we joined neither the CPI nor the CPM. We didn't enroll ourselves. So, and some of us, about 15, 20 comrades in Calcutta, formed an independent organization called Communist Unity Committee. So we became a sort of a third agency. So we continued this way for some time. Then when it became clear to us that we cannot undo the split, it has come to stay, then we dissolved ourselves as an independent setup, and we advised our comrades to join either party according to their choice. But some 5 or 6 of us, Ajit Roy, myself, Gopalacharya, Subodh Dasgupta, we didn't join any. So we then kept independent.
Can you tell us something about this formation of organization?
Yeah, Communist Unity Committee.
Communist Unity Committee. It
Yeah.
was a group of a think tank group, or it was what was it?
No, not a think tank. Apart from 3 or 4 of us, there were not many thinkers. They were all active workers of the movement, mass movement. So you see, it was a sort of a set of people committed to the idea of a united party, preventing the split.
Can you tell us something about your role in the post-independent? When did Marxist Review establish itself?
Just after this, split in '64, for some time we played between this and that group. Then in July '67, we came out with the Marxist Review.
What was the role of Marxist Review? What role did it play?
You see, it is a strange thing. We became recognized as an independent Marxist group. This has never happened in the world communist movement, that a small group taking an independent stand as against organized parties have not been dubbed as imperialist agent. But we had such a sort of a bona fide established and reputation that we were never dubbed as imperialist agent or police spy and all that. We were held sort of respect by both parties.
So, Marxist Review, what was its place in communist literature at that time? You had the party organs, and this was the only, you would say, left English journal. And what was the main issues you carried in the first years?
You see, we dealt with national and international issues. Whatever issue was at that time held to be controversial between the Soviet camp and the Chinese camp, between CPA and CPM, we came out with our independent version.
And how was it accepted by the official communist parties?
Nobody accepted it, but I told you
Mm-hmm.
that nobody dubbed us as an imperialist agent, and some of the people read with his interest and respect. I can't say that it had much impact on the party's thinking, though it had. In the long run, you see, whatever we said earlier came to be accepted by the CPM and CPI a year later or about sometime later. Everything we said were accepted by them. But they never acknowledged that they have been influenced by us.
What negative role did the split play in the communist movement in India?
Difficult to say. In a way, it played a positive role
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that before that, Communist Party never became a mass force. But after the split, it somehow transpired that the CPM became a mass force. To
But
what extent it is due to split, I can't say.
CPM became a mass force, but the CPI also had the AITUC, the trade
No, you
unions, and
see that
they were well
AITUC,
spread out also.
AITUC was an independent organization. It cannot be held as a CPI, auxiliary. And earlier there were CPM people also in the AITUC. Later on, they split away to form the CITU.
Since we come from Jharkhand, and you have always been a source of encouragement to us from the mid 70s, uh, when the certain church related groups got themselves involved in Jharkhand. Uh, you were one of the few people who were able to recognize a certain positive elements in these groups. Could you tell us something more about this? Why? Why did you?
You see, I was never, you know, sectarian in my outlook. I always tried to be objective in assessing things. This was a part of my thinking. So, whenever I came in touch with, this Adivasi activists and group, I recognized they are being rooted in the aspiration of the people. So I saw this strength, and I was not prepared to write them up as imperialist agent disruptors. So I saw that they were inspired by positive ideas. So I was able to extend my solidarity with them.
You would say, okay, this is for the church groups involved in the Adivasi question. But what about the Adivasi movements themselves? The dogmatic position was always that on this whole question of working class vanguardism, where the questions raised by the indigenous people were considered periphery, and there were also various other, I will say, derogatory terminology used as regarding the questions the indigenous people were raising. Uh, what were you thinking at that time
So
regarding these?
you see, I had studied the Marxist position on self-determination of the people with some attention. So I recognize you know, the striving of the people for their self-expression. So finding their other ways blocked. So they are seeking this as sort of their development and expression. So I had a positive attitude towards them.